Hey folks, this is Rabble Rousing Rich Bergeron.
It's the Tornado Tony Pentecost.
And Psychic Tom Paget.
Yeah, we got
full of predictions, as always.
Quite the good show for you today. We're going to start off with a little bit of news. But before that, I just want to get your take on the Spence versus Porter fight. Heard a couple different opinions on this. I've read about it. I didn't actually get to see more than like a couple rounds of it, but I thought Porter did pretty good early. I didn't see the rest of it, so I can't really tell how he did late. But he definitely seemed to be frustrating him, Spence, earlier. But I thought apparently Spence must have really whooped his ass in the late rounds because he got the split decision win. But did you see it, Tony?
Yep, that emphatic knockout. I did not see it. I was going to try to track it online that night, but then I ended up falling asleep early because I had such a busy weekend. But I know a lot of people don't Porter won, but a lot of times it's also the case when you're expecting such a result from a fight, whether it's a knockout or a dominant performance. And I'll give you one that's a perfect example. Was Floyd Mayweather's first Chris Maidana. A lot of people thought Maidana should have got the decision. Fight. I was like, I didn't think he should have got that decision. And then I was thinking, well, you know what it is? It's the people expected Floyd to dominate, and then when he didn't, they gave Maidana maybe more credit than he really earned. So that once again could be the case here where people expected a good competitive fight, but maybe Porter did better than expected, so they were rewarding him a little extracurricularly.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, I was able to see it, and I just don't see that big of a differential because it was 116 to 111 on both judges' winning cards, but there were 2 points for the knockdown in the 11th round. So by rounds, we'd have it 8-4. But in defense of those judges, sometimes these rounds are so close, and you have to go with someone. You don't see too many 10-10 rounds anymore. You used to.
Right.
But that's gone now. So the point being, someone could be that far ahead, and yet the fight was, in theory, a lot closer. I mean, I thought that maybe Spence had a little been, initially when the decision was announced, I wouldn't have been upset if Spence won by a round, maybe even 2, and it just seemed wide. But then when I went back to watch it again, you could kind of see that maybe that was the case there, because there were some of those rounds that were very close, and it would come down to styles. Did you want the guy that's barreling in and throwing more, or do you want the guy that maybe is landing more damaging punches? So,
Wow. Yeah, it definitely was a pretty decent card. We'll go over the rest of the results later. But I watched more of the co-main event than anything, and boy, vicious cut there on what's his name's eye there. Drawing a blank on who it was, but I did catch the co-main event. We'll talk more about that later. I want to get through a couple news items before we get to UFC and upcoming fights and all that. I also had Bellator last week, had a couple events. I didn't get to see any fighting, unfortunately. I was so busy. But anyway, football crossover to boxing story. We have Brandon Marshall now. This is a story on NFL.com. It's claiming that he's going to make his pro debut in May 2020 against an unnamed opponent, TBA. But he's already calling out all the big heavyweights. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz, and Tyson Fury in just his first announcement video on this. And this article puts it bluntly. They have a combined record of 150 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws, with 123 combined knockouts. He wants to take them all on. First professional fight is yet in the books. Not even yet in the books. So,
Well, you know what? Aim big, right?
35 years old, no previous boxing experience whatsoever, but they say he imposed his will on other athletes before, so who's to say he can't do it again?
Yeah, just like Too Tall Jones set the standard. I rest my case.
Yep.
All right, then. Well, it's one thing to be in shape. It's another thing to be able to just be in fighting shape. Fighting shape is a completely different thing. Arguably, people say that, professional boxers are the best athletes in the world, shape-wise. You could say MMA fighters, too, are up there. We didn't really know exactly how to solve that problem of, figuring out who's better or, if it's the same. But fighting in general, not just wrestling, wrestling probably involves a lot more steroids. Fighting where you have to be regulated, just like football, and you have to legitimately be out to beat the crap out of the other person, and the other person's trying to beat the crap out of you. Whereas in football, if you're a wide receiver, you might get hit every other play, once every 5 plays, it all depends on the gameplay. In fighting, you have to destroy the other person or they destroy you. So it's a lot more to it than football. And we haven't seen a lot of successful people transfer over. I think the one that comes to mind is Meathead, Matt Mitrione. Probably had the most early success at it. But who else can you think of, really, that was an amazing... Well, that Greg Hardy guy, that's probably the only other one. He's pretty much yet to be proven, but he's done pretty well in the UFC so far.
Well, because I know his trainer.
Yeah. But anyway. Also, boxing champ Manny Pacquiao back in the news, not because he's negotiating a fight with Floyd Mayweather. Which you didn't hear here first. He's actually got the world's first celebrity cryptocurrency. So now, if you want to make some money, you got to go out there and get your Pac tokens, Pac-Man tokens. So I don't know. I don't know what the heck the deal is with cryptocurrency. I think it's a fraud and a fad, and it's just bullshit. But some people, I guess, are making money at it. But I remember when Bitcoin was like $17,000 for one Bitcoin. I don't even know how it was justified, but it's taken a big dive since then. And there was a little bit of thing about Joe Rogan and the CEO of Twitter trying to muck with all that stock and everything like that, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. But I really don't know a heck of a lot about it other than that, what I've read in those articles. But Manny believes in it, I guess. He launched these tokens at a free concert in Manila, where he sang to over 2,000 fans, and used it as a springboard for his new money. So I guess he's going to change his team name to the Money Team now. He's got his own money. Well, we can't say that. But, Pac tokens are going to allow fans of his to buy his merchandise and interact with the senator on social media. So that's kind of weird, but they'll be listed on Singapore's Global Crypto Offering Exchange. And primary investors are Pacquiao himself and English soccer star Michael Owen. Also, Sheikh Khaled bin Zayed Al Nahyan, a member of Abu Dhabi's ruling family, signed on as an investor. And they also have a couple other people. Carolyn Wozniacki, Michael Owen, and singer Jason Derulo are right in the mix, trying to launch their own currencies. So that's a new one. It doesn't have any value except for getting shit from Manny. So that's a double deal, and I don't know how you do that. You got to be a fan to buy some. But I guess he does everything. He sings, he fights, he politics. He does it all. Anyway, we got got another couple stories here. Okay, this is a big one with John Jones and the Jackson Winklejohn camp. They have a feud going, big feud going with one of their former trainers. They fired the guy. John Jones claims there's drugs involved. There's also this guy says he's owed thousands of dollars, and that John Jones took money from his family. But it all blew up on Instagram the other day. And this guy that got fired claims to be starting his own gym. And it's a pretty big story, but this is the exact reading of it. The guy's nickname is Tank, I guess. But Frank Lester has a bone to pick with John Jones, basically. He's a coach there, and he allegedly, I guess, prepared Jones for his last fight and then didn't get paid. So he just went to Instagram and let it all out there. Because, you know, when you have a dispute, where else is better to solve it than in front of millions of people, right? But the dangerous thing here is he kind of leveled a little bit of a threat at the end of the post. He said, you know, to Jones, he better keep his security close. And he keeps saying this coded message that it's on site. So that means they're going to fight on site when they see each other? I think that's what the code word is for. But I've never heard that in gang terminology or anything like that before. So anyway, they did work together, documented work together for multiple fight camps. Obviously, their relationship soured since then. But the worst quote in there is he said that John Jones and Mike Winklejohn just did me dirtier than I have ever seen in this fight game. But good always prevails over evil, and we have a home big enough for all of us. And he also went on to say, karma is real. Come on, stop freaking going up and down on me here. Karma is real, and John, it's on site with me. That's the thing I'm talking about. It's on site with me and you know that. You stole from my family. You got me fired from my job for no reason, and for that I am grateful because I will never work for a crook like Mike Winkleloser again. I'm 10 times the coach you've ever been. You just bought out Greg's name, and unfortunately Jackson's was out in the control of a dirtbag. But expletive you all very much. But he also added to keep that security close, which is the thing that John Jones obviously took a lot of offense to and fired back. He deleted the post since, but he said, Frank, I gave you the opportunity of a lifetime. Everyone on the team knows that I would not agree to give you $20,000 for only your second training camp on my team. And if I did, I would totally paid you that amount. Not once in 10 years have I ever gotten a complaint about not paying my staff members. If anything, I'm always complimented for being people's highest paying client by a long shot. I won't even get into the fact that you were fired from the team on fight week because of your drug issues. Yeah, just talk about the pot calling the kettle black. That's my commentary, by the way. Anyways, I'm not going to argue with you over the internet. I would be more than happy to take this to a judge. It's the physical threatening that I have a problem with. I have no interest in carrying a concealed pistol or preparing for any type of street fight with you. Tomorrow I will be calling APD and bringing our confrontation to their awareness. Honestly, I wish I would never gotten to know you, but I truly do wish you nothing but the best. Please just leave me alone, bro, or see me in court. So, he also had his manager come out and say, I've been with John Jones for a long time, and I can testify he has never shortchanged a member of his team. So, anyway. That's the beef. You want to know where's the beef? Frank Lester and John Jones got beef, and it's on site, whatever the fuck that means. On site. I'll have to look that up in the, what do they call that, dictionary? The pop culture dictionary or whatever. Must be a new thing. Anyway.
You call it the Urban Dictionary or something?
Yeah. Alright. Cooper Kupp. Finally getting in action there in the football game. Alright, so we talked about, I think it was last week or the week before, the UFC was going to do this big IPO, right? You know, it was going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Everybody going to make money. Yeah, they pulled it. They said, no, we're not doing it. They decided against it. It was also at the same time that Peloton, the bike riding thing where you interface with the class on a TV screen or whatever while you ride the bike. So that also tanked their IPO. They decided against it. And, I don't know whether it's because the conditions are bad or they just looked at the landscape and didn't like what they saw, but they're pulling it back. Maybe they're being advised by the Fertittas, who are having troubles a little bit with Red Rock Resorts, that maybe public isn't the way to go, guys. But they pulled it. And that's a big one.
Peloton's business model, they're very expensive bikes, extremely expensive, and then they want I think it's a $66 a month subscription.
Yeah. Wow.
So you can be told how to ride the bike, which I'm kind of scratching my head. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And
confusing.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this one, but this is a crazy story. Okay, Wanderlei Silva, we all know who he is, right? I don't know which part of the story to tell you first. Okay, so I'm just going to just go with it. The first part of the story is he's going to fight in bare knuckle fighting. Okay, not going to retire, not going to stop fighting. He's going to do bare knuckle. 43 years old, signed a deal with Bare Knuckle FC. His debut and his opponent has yet to be revealed, but the organization could put that together and announce it at their next event. Now, he is 35, 14, and 1 in MMA and was last seen in a cage September 2018 at Bellator 206, where he suffered a second-round TKO loss to Rampage Jackson, longtime rival, multiple fights between the two. His most recent victory now came in 2013, so 6 years ago, when he defeated Brian Stann via second-round knockout in a Fight of the Year performance. So he's gone 4-6 over his past 10 fights overall. And here's the second part of the story that I didn't know whether to say first or second. He recently reveals that he believes he might be suffering from CTE. And he told reporters he plans to donate his brain for research when all is said and done. So, if you think you're suffering from CTE, and you announce it, then you sign up to fight. I mean, isn't that like giving them a waiver that says you can't sue them for putting you in there? You're on your own if you die in the friggin' ring. I don't know. That's not very wise to me. If you find out you have CTE and then you decide you're going to sign a contract to fight. I would think both parties might be at fault there, because if they, if a news magazine, well, this is bjped.com, but if a news outlet can put it out there that he's said this, recently revealed this, then obviously the fight company should know and have him tested for that before he's slated to fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if this dissolves as a story, but it's out there now. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Alright. So, get to the fights. Get your shirt on. So we had two Bellator fights. fight cards, I should say, and one UFC fight card over the weekend. And I'm sure we got stuff coming up. So I'll load up the Sure Doggy here. So this weekend we got Whitaker versus Adesanya, UFC 243. Let's see what we had last week. Go backwards, huh? While we're waiting here, did you guys see anything about the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather rematch negotiations?
I did not. I heard you say something earlier about it, but it caught me off guard.
Yeah, that wasn't just throwing it out there. They supposedly really are negotiating. Floyd was supposed to fight in Japan already next year, one of those exhibitions. But
Those kickboxer fights is going to be able to about 32 seconds again.
Yeah, maybe. Might be a little bit better. We don't know.
Farces.
It might end up being longer than that, but we'll see. We'll see if it even materializes. I'm sure that if he has a better offer against Manny Pacquiao, he'll do it again. But I really do believe that will happen.
Well, I mean, yeah, and here's the thing, the first time they fought in 2015, that fight had been talked about for, a good 7 or 8 years, probably since Pacquiao had beaten De La Hoya in 2008. So you're looking at that fight, it really jumped on the radar in late 2008. It didn't happen until May of 2015. So you're talking about 6.5 years of talk. You had Floyd, maybe have a few fights that weren't that impressive. The Maidana fights, Victor Ortiz, even though he knocked him out, there was controversy. And then you had Pacquiao look really good in fights against guys like Cotto and Margarito and Ricky Hatton. And then it's like, oh my God, I remember we even interviewed Al Bernstein, and Bernstein goes, right now, this is like 2011, he goes, I have to put my money on Pacquiao. And then Pacquiao had the controversial loss of Timothy Bradley, even though everybody thought he won. Then he had a devastating knockout to Juan Manuel Marquez. So that took a lot of luster off Manny Pacquiao. So then finally, but there has been so much talk, and then the fight finally happened, and then it was a dud. It was just a dud. And you could say, oh, Pacquiao was disclosing, had an injury, and they wouldn't let him have a shot in his arm. So that limited his performance. But then, then why did you go out there and perform if you knew you weren't 100%? But it was just a fight where Mayweather neutralized him in a very unimpressive, uninspiring, uneventful fight.
Right.
Do you think they could bring in that close to the amount of money again? I don't think so.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Dud. Letdown.
And you know what, Tom? I'll tell you another thing. And you being a boxing fan even longer than I have, back in the day, and I remember this, growing up as a kid, when you still had a lot of guys that were really household names. And I'm talking about, like, for me, your Sugar Ray Leonards, your Mike Tysons. I came after the days of Ali and all that. But you still had a lot of times there would be talk around the water cooler. Hey, Holyfield's fighting Tyson, or, Foreman's fighting so-and-so. So there was still a lot of talk, and there was still a lot of excitement. Not as much, obviously, as there was back, with the Alis and the Fraziers and was still that, dull excitement. I remember even being in school as like a 14-year-old high school kid, and we'd be talking like potential round robins in the heavyweight divisions. Boy, what if Tyson fights so-and-so, or what if Holyfield fights this guy, and how's this fight going to turn out, When this Pacquiao-Mayweather fight happened again, there was the water cooler talk. And I remember that Saturday, I went to the LA Fitness, get a quick run in. And I remember just seeing a bunch of guys, and I felt like I was holding court because they all wanted to talk to me about it. And everybody was so excited about what was going to happen that night. And Tony, you know boxing. What do you think is going to happen? How's this fight going to play out? And of course, I'm sitting there going, hey, guys, I wrote a 9-page preview on it. You ought to go to Fight News Unlimited and check out my preview, And I'm trying to, give out links to it and post it on Facebook and all that. And when it was over, I remember saying the two things I was disappointed about was, one, the fight was disappointing, and two, the water cooler talk was gone. The anticipation, it was like Christmas morning. You waited all year for this, and it was so exciting. And you woke up and you got socks.
Yeah, is that all there is? Really? This is all these years. Well, first off, it should have happened, as you were saying. It should have happened 6-7 years before. And then it made this letdown even more infuriating. Damn it, why didn't this happen back 2008, 2009? That's when they're both a lot younger, and then we have to wait and then get what we got.
Well,
and it's just one of those frustrating things that boxing's making a great comeback now. We're all happy for it. But when there's these kind of things, it just stops the momentum. I mean, the bad judging or the screwed up refereeing and just on and on and on. Just another self-inflicted gunshot wound. We don't need that. Just don't need
You're right.
Well, there you have it. I believe that it could be more exciting now than the first one because Floyd may have lost a step or two.
Maybe you've missed a little bit.
But Pacquiao has been training. He's been in it. He's doing well in his last few fights, so doesn't show any signs of slowing down. And I don't know. It could be more of an exciting matchup. And like Tony said, there was the injury. And maybe he should have pulled out of the first fight.
On the same,
but
on the same token, a lot of people think the Thrill in Manila was better than the first Ali Frazier fight. Now, I'm one of the few in the minority of that because I thought the first Ali Frazier fight was just amazing. And plus, they were both. I mean, Ali may still been a little rusty from his 3-year exile, but Frazier was at his peak, and those two guys tore into each other for 15 rounds. But the third fight where they were both diminished, and that used that artistry of brutality, that's the one that gets more of the people talking, anymore. More people talk about the Thrill in Manila than they do the fight.
right.
And you're right, and that was an example of both guys that were diminished that, played into each other, and, their weaknesses made a great fight.
All right. Well, we're going to cue it up here now. We had a fight in Dublin and a fight in California for Bellator. They don't do the fight nights, I guess, or anything like that, so it's just it's numbers 227 and 228. 227 was in the Three Arena in Dublin. And James Gallagher got the win there. He improves to 11-1. And Romazar falls to 13-11. It was a quick one. Guillotine choke, 35 seconds in. Not wasting any time. Also, Ciaran Clark, a big win over George Courtney for a naked choke submission. 2 minutes and 19 seconds into round number 3. And then we had Danny Nealon beating Camila Rigarola by unanimous decision in a female fight. Michael Page victorious by none other than a flying knee knockout. He's good for those. 2 minutes and 42 seconds into that one. Richard Kiley was on the losing end of that one. Peter Queally also got a TKO win from punching over Ryan Scope. 3 minutes and 7 seconds into round 2. Another former UFC fighter fighting a former UFC fighter. Benson Henderson beat Miles Jury in Miles' debut in Bellator. It was a unanimous decision. Wasn't the best effort on Henderson's part, but definitely did what he had to do to win the fight. Jury, on the other hand, really didn't do anything dynamic. He just kind of plugged away, and it's just not the kind of style that can beat Benson Henderson if he's just anywhere near his game. So, it was what that was. And then Kiefer Crosby got a win over Hugo Pereira by unanimous decision. Norbert Norvani beat Will Flory by unanimous decision. And we had Leah McCourt beating Kerry Hughes by rear naked choke. 2 minutes and 48 seconds into that fight. And I won't go through all the rest of them there at the top. There was a lot of Irish fights there. Okay. Then we have Bellator 228, a pit bull fight there. Lyoto Machida versus Gegard Mousasi was the main event. Or co-main event, I guess. I don't know. It's called Pitbull versus Archuleta, so I guess that was a main event too. But Gegard won the rematch between Mousasi, or between him and Machida, and got a split decision. So he improves to 47-7-2. Lyoto falls to 26-10. Then we had the Pitbull fight, Patricio Pitbull Freire in the co-main event, beating Juan Archuleta by unanimous decision. AJ McKee also on the card, beating Georgie Karkinian in the first round, 8 seconds into that fight. Darian Caldwell beat former guest of ours, Henry Corrales, by unanimous decision on that card. Daniel Weichel, we got to interview him for 5 minutes until my audio went out years ago. He beat Saul Rogers by unanimous decision. And 12th fight of the night, Adrian Najera over Jason Edwards by rear naked choke. That was 2 minutes and 28 seconds into round 3. That was stopped. We have Benji Gomez over Jonathan Santa Maria by unanimous decision. And we will go through the undercard. There's a lot of fights again. We'll go to UFC Fight Night 160 now. Hermanson versus Cannonier. And Hermanson got knocked the crap out. TKO'd. Second round, 27 seconds in by Jared Cannonier. So he improves to 14-4. Hermanson falls to 20-6. We had Mark O. Madsen. Lived up to his last name and beat Danilo Belluardo by TKO. 1 minute and 12 seconds into the fight. Then we had Gilbert Burns got a big win over Gunnar Nelson. Unanimous decision. Ion Cutelaba over Khalil Roundtree. TKO first round. 2 minutes and 35 seconds in from elbows. OSB they call him. Ovin St. Pro beat Michael Olashuk by shoulder choke submission. 2 minutes and 14 seconds into round 2. So, Mahmoud Moradov beating Alessio De Chirico by unanimous decision. John Phillips over Alan Amadovsky. 17-second knockout there. Quick knockouts on this card. Also, the other cowboy was on this card. Nicholas Dalby beat him. Alex Oliveira by unanimous decision. Must have been quite the upset there. We had Ismail Nardiev beating Sayar Baharduzada by unanimous decision. Giga Chikadze over Brandon Davis by split decision. Lena Landsberg over Macy Chiasson by unanimous decision. Mark Diakiese over Lando Venata, also by unanimous decision. And then the first fight of the night ended in a rear naked choke. The third round, 2 minutes and 51 seconds in, Jack Shore over Nohelen Hernandez. have it for that one. Then, of course, we have UFC 243 this weekend. Whitaker versus Adesanya. Should be a good card.
Strange odds on that fight as of this morning. Adesanya, minus 115. The champ is minus 105.
Really?
How about that?
Wow.
Wow.
Well, he is quite the bright prospect. I'll give him that for sure. Definitely. We'll have to see if he lives up to the hype. Just waiting for that to load here.
Rich, speaking of that fight, have you seen any of the UFC embedded?
No, unfortunately, I haven't really even had time to put stuff on the website. I've been so busy with the wood and everything else going on. And yeah, it's been pretty hectic. But yeah, I know Adesanya being undefeated, being so much like Anderson Silva, but I think in some ways better. I don't know if, Whitaker's been hurt too recently. He's been out. Hasn't really been fighting continuously, so he has a lot of drawbacks in this one. There's probably a good reason why he's not the favored one, even though he's the champ. So this could be pretty one-sided.
Well, I would say it's essentially a pick-up fight. But it was a lot of funny things on that embedded. And I guess after the one of the press conferences, they got it over with, and Whitaker jumps into the car and he says, well, now I can go back to doing what I normally do, compulsive masturbation. I'm wondering what his wife thought of that. Now, and then someone says that's why he got that hernia the day before his last defense. You remember? It was, they had to change the main event one day before. He had a hernia.
Yeah.
So now we know why.
Well, unfortunately for Whitaker,
a lot of comedy on that. If you get the chance, check that stuff out.
I will definitely look at that. Unfortunately for Whitaker, it's in his home region. It's in Melbourne, Australia. I believe he's from New Zealand. I'm not sure, but he could be from Australia.
Remember, Whitaker was born in New Zealand, but he grew up in Australia.
Okay.
He came to Australia very young. And then I guess New Zealand, and I'm learning a lot about this, New Zealand and Australia have a lot of rivalries. Soccer's pretty big, soccer and rugby. And I guess they really have rivalries, but I guess it's going to continue because Asanya's from, I think, Nigeria or someplace, but he calls New Zealand home, so they've adopted it.
Well, then. We will see. I think Adesanya takes it. Just my thought, not really based on any scientific analysis. Just shooting from the hip there. But I just base that on Robert Whitaker's lack of recent activity, is being injured, being out of the game, being out of the spotlight, being out of the cage. Period. In a professional fight, just ring rust. Big thing, but who knows? Maybe he catches him. Maybe he wins by fluke.
And remember, he is 8-0 at that weight division.
Yeah.
He's made for that weight division. Some of his setbacks were just trying to lose too much weight, and he just seems to find a way to win. Yoel Romero is not a cheap date at all.
Right.
And those were some more. And he got through it, so I just kind of have a feeling he's going to be able to act this out. But we'll find out, because Adesanya was challenged a lot in that Gastelum fight. And going into that fifth round, he needed to perform, and to his credit, he did. So there was no dispute about the decision. But Adesanya was hurt in that fight. He was able to come back, but we'll see if Bobby Knuckles lands on him, and we'll see how he reacts.
Well, one of my favorite fighters is in the co-main event, Al Iaquinta. He's been challenged in his last few fights, but Always comes to fight. Always is very entertaining. He is 14-5-1, fighting Dan Hooker, who's 18-8, and both of them been around a long time. I think this is Al's fight all the way, though. This is the tune-up fight they should have been giving him like 2 years ago, but they keep throwing him to the wolves.
Yeah, it's funny because Al is a slight dog in this fight, but I would agree with you, and I think that if worse comes to worse, I think he can win on the ground.
Yeah. And we got a heavyweight fight, I believe. Tai Tuivasa, who looks like a heavyweight, 8-2, fighting Sergey Spivak, who's 9-1. Should be a barn burner, slugfest. And we got, I think those guys are Tai's from Australia too, right? Pretty sure. Luke Jumo, also on the card, 13-4, fighting Diego Lima, who's 14-7. Jake Matthews, 14-4, fighting Rostam Akman. Jorgen De Castro, undefeated at 5-0, fighting Justin Tafa, who's 3-0. Fighting for a Sherdog picture. He doesn't have one yet. Maki Pitolo, 11-4, fighting Callan Potter, who's 17-8. And we had Megan Anderson, 9-4, fighting Zara Fiern dos Santos, who's 6-2. We got Brad Riddle, 5-1, fighting Jamie Malarkey, 8-2. Second fight of the night, 5-1, fighting 8-2-2. Ji Yeon Kim, Nadia Kassim, 5-1. Ji Yeon Kim, her female fight there. And then the first fight of the night, Khalid Taha, who is 13-2, fighting Bruno Silva, 10-3-2. Probably not so much these days a thing, but back in the old days, a guy named Jamie Malarkey, if he was coming into a boxing match, it'd be a funny thing for the announcers to keep yelling, Malarkey hits him again. Malarkey and Riddle.
Malarkey.
That's kind of a funny name for a fighter. Look at that Malarkey go! Alright, so then we've got Bellator fight coming up. Bellator's tomorrow. Whoops. They made me click on the wrong one, didn't they? There it is. Yep, they made me click on the wrong one. Back to the page. I gotta hit a about trick. Bellator, tomorrow night. Hurry up, Sherdog. Come on. My computer is slow tonight. Alright, while we're waiting for that, we're going to talk boxing for a minute. Okay, so last weekend we had, obviously, Sean Porter beating, almost beating, not quite beating, losing to Errol Spence Jr. Also had Josecito Lopez beating John Molina Jr. pretty handily. I think that one was a knockout. And it was Anthony Durrell losing to David Benavidez. That was the one I saw where he got cut towards the end, and he just didn't have the steam to finish strong. So I believe they threw the towel in right as the ref was stopping it himself, or getting ready to stop it.
Yeah, that was not surprising, but Durrell gave everything he had. Got to respect him. So I guess now the next one that people are clamoring for will be the Caleb Plant in Benavidez.
Right.
Tony, what do you think of that one?
Well, that would be a really good fight, and like I said, I didn't get to see it. I got to follow some of it, and they say basically Benavidez really broke Darrell down. Darrell has seen better days. So now it's like, okay, but did what he had to do. At this juncture, this is the guy you're supposed to beat, and you're supposed to beat him in the manner that he did. Now, you step in there with a guy like Caleb Plant, and now it's like you're looking, it's like, okay, this is a guy that's fighting on the top of his level right now. So, to pick a fight like that's hard, because, Benavidez is a rising star, but Plant's an established guy as well, and he is, beating everybody he's supposed to beat as well. That would be a fight for the fans.
Yeah, and it's such a clash of styles, because Plant's just a classic boxer, and you could call him boxer puncher, and Benavidez is just a tornado. The guy's a force of nature. So my gut feeling would lean toward him, but Caleb Plant's done everything he has to do. So I hope we see it. Now, I know Plant's got a fight coming up, but I don't think his belt's really going to be in jeopardy. Put it that way. I can't even think of the name of who he's fighting. But so hopefully we can get a few of the tune-ups out of the way and have those two get together next year.
All right. Well, we got some upcoming fights in boxing too, but we're going to get to this Bellator card. Koreshkov versus Larkin. Okay, Andrei Koreshkov, 22-3, fighting Lawrence Larkin, who is 20-7. That's the main event, and we got another couple guys with a lot of experience. Sayad Awad coming in at 23-11, fighting Goiti Yamauchi, who is 23-4. In the female fight, Carrie Melinda is 3-0, fighting Mandy Polk, who's 6-4. And Joe Schilling on the card, he is 4-5, fighting Tony Johnson, who is 8-2. He's quite the character, Joe. He's had some back and forth MMA fights, but he really is, I think, the best in kickboxing. He's just he's a wild man. But he's up and down. Sometimes he has great wins, sometimes he has horrible losses. So we don't know what to expect in his fights. But he's fighting Tony Johnson, 8-2. Obviously he got a better record, but I don't know if it's against the same kind of caliber of people Joe's been fighting. So we'll see if he gets to 500 with this one or falls back into the hole. Anyway, ninth fight of the night, Adel Altamimi. He is 8-5, fighting Salim Mukhidinov, who is 6-3. Anatoly Tokov on the card also. 28-2, fighting Horacio Darpinian, who is 17-8-2. And we got Derek Anderson, 15-3, fighting Guillermo Vasconcelos, who's 10-5. And Joey Davis next, 5-0, fighting Jeff Peterson, 10-7. And then Johnny Eblin, he is 5-0, fighting Mauricio Alonso, who's 13-7. And we won't read the first four fights because they don't have any pictures on shirt at all, either one of them. So we'll get back to boxing.
You have to wonder about that, though. If you get to the UFC level or even Bellator and you don't have a picture on SureDog,
right?
Who's your PR team?
You
Who's
don't
your
have
manager?
one. You don't have a good one.
What gym do you train at?
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was training, Marcus would have been all over that. I mean, it's
Yeah, get a picture. I know we joke about it all the time, but you guarantee if you're on a main card and you don't have a SureDog picture, if you win that card, you pretty much, the SureDog people will figure out how to get a picture up there for you. So it's like literally they're fighting for a picture on there sometimes. Anyway, we don't have a ton of boxing this weekend at all, but we have one big fight.
That's Triple G, don't it?
Yeah, we have one big fight, Triple G.
Yes.
We also have something over in Denmark is pretty interesting. A couple fights. Oliver Mollenberg, he is 4-0, fighting Jawad Belmadi, who is 7-0, with 2 draws for the vacant WBO Youth Super Lightweight title. And the co-main event is 47-8-1 Ashley Theophane against Kasim Uma, who is 29-13-1.
Wow.
So, blasts from the past there.
Yeah.
Middleweights. They're middleweights now. But yeah, they haven't fought in a long time, I don't think. But going at it over there in Denmark. I believe Denmark fights like 2-minute rounds too, don't they? They have some weird rules, I think.
That I don't know.
It's something like that. It's just something weird they do. Anyway, in France, they have a decent one too. Undefeated fighters in the main event. Even though we never heard of them probably, but Estelle Mossoli, 5-0, fighting Anna Romina Guichapani, who is 13-0-1 for the IBO World Female Lightweight title. That's Saturday in France. Yeah, Tony's gonna be ringside for that one.
Yeah, I'm grabbing a red eye.
Yeah, we're going to put you on the Fight News Unlimited jet. Send you right over there. I didn't tell you guys about that. You can only get it for very special occasions. There's our Jesus Fight of the Week, coming to us from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Danielito Zorrilla, 12-0, fighting Jesus Antonio Perez Campos, who was 23-3. And what did I tell you about Mexican guys with 4 names a couple weeks ago? Didn't I tell you guys? It's a pretty good chance one of them is going to be Jesus. Anyway, co-main event: Carlos Buitrago, 31-5-1, fighting Israel Vasquez, who is 10-3-2. And by the way, the Jesus Fight of the Week is for the interim World Boxing Organization NABO Super Lightweight title. And it's no surprise that half of the card is fighting TBA. And here's one. I don't know if he's related to the other Camachos, but here's Juan Carlos Camacho, who is 11-1, fighting Lucas Emmanuel Fernandez Leon, who's 12-2-1. I believe Hector Camacho was from Puerto Rico, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
he was.
Chance.
I believe he was from San Juan.
Juan Carlos Camacho. We'll have to get him on the show and find out. I believe this is pretty much the mismatch of the week, I think, so far. Comes to us in the main event from Glatbrugg, Switzerland. You got Labanot. I don't even know how to pronounce this last name. This has got to be the toughest one I've seen. Xoxhaj. That's this dude's last name, heavyweight. But he's 12-0, so I don't care what his last name is. Obviously got some wins. He's fighting. This is a great name. Not so much for a fighter, but if you're American, probably. Maybe if you're Swiss, it probably sounds better. But Predrag is his first name. Predrag Jevtic. Predrag Jevtic comes in at 3-12 to this fight, fighting a 12-0 fighter. Good luck there, Predrag. He suffers from jet lag and pre-drag. Anyway, fighter in the Ukraine. This one's a candidate for mismatch of the week too. Max Bursak. He is 34-5-2, fighting Becca Makulashvili, who is 5-7. Probably a little bit worse. 34-5-2 against 5-7, or 12-0 against 3-12. Yeah, I'd go with the 34 wins. We always got some good mismatches in the United Kingdom. Here's one, 35-4-0, Lee Haskins fighting Jordan Rodriguez, who's just 8-4-2. That's not too bad. At least he's got a winning record. Oh, here's a worse one. Jimmy First. How about that for a nickname or a name for a fighter? Jimmy First. He is 7-0, lightweight.
Well.
And he's fighting Dean Jones, who's 1-17.
Ouch.
He's jonesing for a win.
19's a charm, kid. 19 is a charm. That's what you tell him.
And then you got Kevin McCauley on this card. He's fighting a 1-0 fighter, but he is 15-198-12.
My God.
He's two losses away from 200. 2 losses away.
12 draws. Man.
And then you got
Must be some ugly fight.
your Elvis fight of the week.
I wonder what that guy smells like. Wow.
Anyway, Elvis is fighting too this week. Elvis Dubé. He is 8-78-2. Creeping up on his 80th loss there. He's fighting Thomas Ivachov, who's fighting in his debut. Lovely fight card there.
Creeping up, huh? Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to phrase that, Rich. He's creeping up. I wish you were doing. I wish I could transport you to ringside, and you could be the color commentator. You could use that phrase.
I will.
Oh man, yeah, here you go.
Hank Lundy also in action down in Hockessin, Delaware. Tony's going to take the red eye over there. Lightweight fight. He's 29-8-1, fighting Robert Frankel, who is 37-22. So this looks like a little bit of a tune-up fight for Hank, and hopefully he's not going in there on a bad day, and Frankel has a good one. Frankel has 1 draw too, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about Frankel, but he's lost 4 out of his last 6, so looks like Hank's going to handle him pretty well, if I know Hank. Light heavyweights in the co-main event. Fan Long Meng, 15-0, fighting Gilberto Rubio, who's 9-8. And then you got the one fight on the card for a title. It's Roy King, 11-4-1, fighting Chris Thomas, who's 13-0-1 for the WBC USNBC Silver Super Middleweight title. It's a tough one. It's down in Delaware. And we didn't think about this one. Down in Flint, Michigan. Been posting stuff on my website about this, but not a ton of stuff. Anyway, Flint, Michigan, we have Jaron Ennis fighting Demian Daniel Fernandez in the main event. Ennis is undefeated, 23-0. Fernandez 12-1. Co-main event, Clarissa Shields fighting Ivana Habazin, who is 20-3. Shields 9-0. For the vacant WBC World Female Super Welterweight title, the vacant WBO World Female Super Welterweight title, and the vacant WBC Diamond Female Super Welterweight title.
I'll tell you, I mean, this is a card right there, because, I mean, first we got Clarissa Shields, Olympic gold medalist, undefeated champion, comes off that big win over Christina Hammer. I mean, she is the best female fighter in the world right now. And then you say you got Jaron Boots Ennis on the card, who is a highly touted Philadelphia prospect, might be the top prospect in Philadelphia right now. So, I mean, you're talking about, that's impressive right there.
Right. Well, yeah. It's not the only one either. We've also got Jermaine Franklin, 19-0, fighting Pavel Sauer, who's 11-1. Jericho O'Quinn, that's a heavyweight fight, by the way. Undefeated heavyweight, 19-0. That's tough to do. Anyway, super flyweights, Jericho O'Quinn, 12-0-1, fighting James Smith, who is 13-2, fighting for the WBO International Super Flyweight title. And then we got a female fight. Hannah Rankin, another female fight. 7-3, fighting Erin Tuthill, who is 7-5-1. So yeah, that's a fantastic little card there. Flint. And here's the big one. Gennady Golovkin, 39-1-1, fighting Sergey Derevyanchenko, who is 13-1. For the vacant IBF, the vacant IBO World Middleweight title. Also on the card, another Russian, Ivan Baranchik, who is 9-1, fighting 19-1, fighting Gabriel Bracero, who is 25-3-1 for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Super Lightweight title. And this one seems like a little bit of a mismatch, but I don't know. Israel Madrimov, he comes in at just 3-0, fighting Alejandro Barrera, who's 29-5. But they're fighting for the WBA Intercontinental Super Welterweight title. So I guess Israel Madrimov must be something like, what's his name there? Lomachenko. I don't know what his history is, but it seems a little weird. 3-0 against 29-5 for a title. Anyway, super middleweights.
Yeah.
Ali Akhmedov, 15-0, fighting Andrew Hernandez, 20 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws for the WBC International Silver Super Middleweight title. And then somebody's always got to go in this fight. Brian Sabalo at welterweight, 10-0, fighting Ramal Amanov, who's 16-0. And this one's worth mentioning too. Camille Sarameta, he's 20-0, fighting Oscar Cortez, who's 27-4. Also on the card, Isaiah Selden, 13-2-1, and Nikita Habibi, he's 6-0. That's it. That's it for the week. That's all my news stories, all the fights. I think we covered everything in less than an hour. Well, almost less than an hour. Would have been less than an hour if I didn't have all those pauses trying to fucking wait for shit to load. Anyway, I guess that's all she wrote. So you guys got anything to chime in?
All right, guys. Let's enjoy the fights this weekend.
Alrighty.
Sounds good, gentlemen. It
Thanks
was
for
a pleasure.
stopping by. Adios.